Hi, it's Deborah Poneman, founder of Yes to Success Seminars, where we share knowledge and tools for you to live true inner success, which spontaneously leads to living your ultimate life. So for those of you who are new to Yes to Success and Success Saturdays, I want to let you know that one of the recurring themes that you will in fact hear very often is that our words and our thoughts not only create our reality, but can actually move matter. In fact, I've shared a few times about my near-death experience and how in that space between life and death, I saw words coming out of the mouths of the nurses and the doctors that actually went into my body and shifted my body from weakness to strength and then back to weakness, depending on the words that were spoken about me. And if you've seen the movie What the Bleep, you'll know that science has actually confirmed the power of our words and our thoughts, and that if we think and we see the world as a fearful place, we infuse fear into the fabric of creation and increase the vibration of fear for everyone. But if we see the world as a loving place, and if you look and you have the intention to find it, you can always find the love. And when we do, we infuse that love into the fabric of creation and contribute to a more peaceful, kind, and loving world, again, for everyone. So I recommend that at this quite delicate time in creation, we become aware of the power of the words and the thoughts that flow from us. And instead of sitting around and talking about how terrible everything is and it's only going to get worse, talk about the world that you want to see. Talk about a world in which people are loving and kind, and there is unity and acceptance, a world where we have compassion for people who are misguided because they feel powerless. And now, I'm not going to tell you that if you do that, the people who think the path to a better world is to cause chaos and harm are going to suddenly all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But what we put our attention on grows. That's the law of attraction 101. Why would you think it doesn't apply here? Now, again, this doesn't mean we hide our heads in the sand and pretend that we're in the middle of Camelot, but envisioning Camelot will do a lot more for your own happiness and peace of mind, and thus for the future direction of our world, than continually putting our attention on hate and chaos, which is what you're doing when you talk about it. My friend Marcia forwarded to me a recent message, and this was from the angelic realm that was channeled through a wonderful angel communicator named Ann Albers. You've probably heard of her. She wrote numerous books. I think one was called Love Letters from the Angels and Whispers from Spirit, I think. And this is what she shared recently. I'm going to read it to you directly. You will not assist your world by joining in the chaos. You will not assist your world by any stance of righteousness, judgment, or superiority. Remember, this is coming directly from the angels. You will not assist your world by trying to force light into anyone's darkness. Instead, be the light, be the love, be the peacekeeper. Be the one who gets up in the morning and appreciates your pillow for cradling your head at night. Love the soap and the water in your shower. Love your breakfast. Give thanks for your home. Give thanks for your family. Pet your dog. Praise your children. Appreciate your partners. Then pray, dear ones, for all human hearts to be uplifted. Pray for the hurting to be soothed. Pray for the fearful to feel God's love. Pray for yourself to be at peace. And when you look at someone, imagine the spark of light and their hearts growing brighter until you imagine them glowing with this light. Telepathically whisper to each soul you see, whether in your physical presence or in the media, you are loved. Do this for all souls, not just the ones you agree with, for all, regardless of beliefs or behaviors. All are sourced from the very same light. And as you silently bear witness to the inner light, you help others remember who they really are. As you telepathically whisper to souls, you send a vibrational wave of love to them, which their soul will energetically interpret and feel. Your emanation of love might be the one that calms the hurting heart of a person who is about to become violent. Your telepathic whisper might be the one that soothes a soul who was in such pain that they were preparing to exit the planet by their own hand. Your love might be a wave of peace that lifts a spirit before they fall into the depths of despair and resignation. You may never meet these souls. You may never know them. Nonetheless, in the depth of your shared essence, you are connected and your love matters. And how do you know that what's going on right now, especially in the political arena in the US, as horrific as it seems on the surface, is not leading our country to new and glorious heights? Because this purification has to take place to make way for the light, the proverbial darkness before the dawn. Someone after one of my previous Yes to Success, or maybe I think it was after a Success Saturday, asked me how I could possibly look at good when not only is the country falling apart at the seams politically, but people are losing their jobs and they can't feed their families and dying in record numbers. And it always reminds me of the famous quote from Napoleon Hill, who said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." Know the truth of that. It has been a blessing, even if it doesn't feel like it, or it wouldn't be happening, because the nature of life is to always move towards more and more. Again, I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, even in my own life, but I trust that it's the truth. I trust that we live in a benevolent universe. I remember a woman in one of my Yes to Success programs several years ago who lost her job at a nonprofit that downsized, and she was devastated. It was her dream job. She was despondent. Unfortunately, she had the Yes to Success community to pull her through, but she tried and tried and tried to get another job in her field, and it wasn't happening. So as a last resort, she just decided to start her own little nonprofit in the same area. I think it was for special needs kids, actually. And within a few years, her little nonprofit exploded, and she was making 3 times as much salary and having 100 times the impact. It dwarfed the impact that her first nonprofit was making. But remember what I've said before, and now that I'm officially halfway through my first year of creating these weekly messages, it might not happen in your timing, but it will happen in perfect timing. It also reminds me of that story, that story of the Chinese farmer. I think Alan Watts was the one that made it famous, where every time a tragedy happened for the farmer or good fortune showed up in his life, everyone said, "Oh, that is so horrible," or "That is so wonderful." And he would always say, "Maybe." Anyway, let me know in the comments if you know that story. If not, I'll tell it in a future Success Saturday. In fact, I was reading a newsletter from a great company called Guidely, and they also illustrated this point. They told this true story of a young couple who had scrimped and saved all their money, and finally they had enough to buy a little house. And it was an amazing moment in their lives, and they loved this house so much. But not too long after they moved in, a wildfire broke out and burned their house to the ground. And all of their friends said, "Oh, how tragic." And the young couple just smiled and said, "Maybe." And then there was an investigation into the wildfire, and a power company was found negligent. So the couple received a settlement allowing them to buy a newer, bigger, more beautiful house that they loved even more. And all of their friends said, "Oh, how fortunate." And the couple smiled and said, "You guessed it, maybe." And as the years went on and the couple had children and the house overflowed with love and noise and laughter, But over time, the children grew up and they moved out, and the house became older and too expensive for the couple to maintain. But try as they might, they just could not sell it. And all of their friends said, "Oh, how awful that you can't sell the house." And the couple smiled and said, "Maybe." And then in the year 2020, a deadly virus spread across the globe, and this pandemic stopped life as we knew it. And the couple's children lost their jobs and their schools closed, and they all needed a place to live. And they moved back into the big house where they together weathered the storm. And their friends all said, "How fortunate that the house didn't sell." And the couple smiled and said, "Maybe." So really, it's impossible to judge any moment or any event because we can't know the outcome of good fortune or bad. Sometimes seemingly tragic events lead to unknown blessings, and other times our best moments are followed by trauma. We just don't know what's next. So during the painful times, all we can do is say, "And this too shall pass." And it always does. Oh, and remember to also say thank you to the God of your understanding, because the sooner you give thanks, the sooner the gift and the trauma will be revealed. So hang in there, my friends, since this too shall pass, and it will pass more quickly if those of us who know how powerful we are use our attention to see a glorious future for our planet filled with grace and unity and loving compassion for all.